And 3 years ago, my pilgrim ancestors fled England and set sail on a dangerous journey across the Atlantic to America. You see, they were persecuted by the British Crown, which required them to practice their Christian faith in the state church, the Church of England. Today, the Church of England, with government approval, is imposing an extreme unbiblical agenda on the youngest members of British society. According to Christian Concern, a Church of England primary school in Essex, England, introduced 4-year-olds to the concept of gender identity on World Book Day. The featured book, My Shadow is Pink. Here's a clip being read on Annie's story time.
My dad has a shadow that's blue as can be. And there's nothing but blue in my whole family tree. But mine is quite different. It's not what you think. For mine is not blue. My shadow is pink. My shadow loves ponies and books and pink toys, princesses, fairies, and things not for boys. But there's one thing it likes most, I have found. It loves wearing dresses and dancing around.
Parents told Christian Concern their children were directed to engage with the story and explore the themes within it. The children were asked to dress up to reflect how they see their shadow and how they see themselves. At least 25% of 11-year-olds in England struggle with reading. But boy, they can tell you if their shadow is pink or blue. Folks, this is the emasculation of males and LGBTQ grooming of primary school children, and it's being advanced by the Church of England. The Church of England wants to be culturally relevant, but guess what? That isn't working. No wonder the church is expected to fade into extinction within the next 40 years. Meanwhile, a Church of England chaplain fired from his job for preaching a biblical view of gender identity and same-sex relationships is back in the news. Reverend Bernard Randall, formerly of Trent College, says he's appealing his case after an employment tribunal ruled against him. We featured his story 2 years ago when the college first suspended him and labeled him a terrorist. Chaplain Russell describes the ruling against him as a blow to free speech and Christian freedoms. Folks, what Trent College and the Church of England failed to realize is their societal reshaping efforts oppress the faith that made their institutions and their country great. They're replacing one religion with another one, extreme secular humanism, where people can ignore science and Judeo-Christian values to become their own God. And anyone who stands for biblical truths must be destroyed. So let's not be discouraged. Remember that victory belongs to the Lord. So keep speaking up, praying, and standing for God's truth.
What you tell me for? You making me a conspiracy to something? You think?
I think you're incarcerated more for your ideas than what you're supposed to.
I'm incarcerated because they're afraid.
You have to change the thing.
I hope suffer. They don't know how many children and how many people are suffering right now because they won't change. See? They don't have the intelligence to change. Once you get them, they go, the rest of their life, They'll do that for a paycheck, You tell them, don't do that no more, and they go, There's no communication. You tell them, I told you, stop doing that. And they'll go, I said, stop it. And they'll go, and you cut someone's fucking throat and throw blood in their face, and they'll go, You see what I'm saying? In other words, there's just no intelligence, man.
You don't have any hope for mankind.
Not on that level. Not on that level, I don't. No. That's not mankind. That's not intelligence. You know, it's not even beast. They don't have the intelligence of a zoo. You know.
When you say beast, you talk about 666 a lot. What does that mean to you?
666 is just a dollar bill. That's the body of the money. The body of the people that work for the money. Take that gold on that man's ring. He works. How long did you work for that? 2 or 3 weeks to get that ring? And when he got that ring, he puts it on his finger and he writes it around. And he doesn't know that he's holding up the very same value that's working his African brother to death. And is starving somebody else down in the ground, but he wears it on his finger like it was okay. I'd take it off and throw it on the dirt. You know, I wouldn't enslave nobody for a piece of gold. That's stupid. And anybody you see wearing gold, you know, they're enslaving somebody else with it, you know. But where their brain is, and you can't get them out of it. You know why you can't get them out of it? Ah, because that was where they hung that fucking last asshole.
What do you think about that last asshole?
He's still there. Can't you see him? He's still right there. Nothing's changed. It's right now, then as it's right now. You dig? And I'm not going back over there. Fuck them assholes.
What does Satan mean to you as opposed to Christ?
Satan means whatever I'm looking at, whatever I want it to mean. It's on my forehead. It's me if I can get up on that highway. It's me trying to save my air, my water, my trees, my wildlife. It's me on that cameraman. It's me right there in his watch. It's me in his brain. It's me right there on his ears. And when he shaves in the morning, I'm sitting right up underneath his razor. You dig? It's everything that human beings don't understand. It's all their fears. It's what they're not sure of. You dig what I'm saying? Satan to me would be God. You would be God to me. You dig? I can worship anything as God. Everything is God. The sun is God. The moon is God. Everything is God. Except them stupid fucking people who got that shit stuck up in their fucking heads and they won't get rid of it. They're out there talking about, well, Jesus loves you on the front of the cross, and he's doing all these things, boo, boo, blah, blah, and they're back there Googling that, and playing on the rope scoop, and then back on the boom scoop, and then coming around the back of my alley and said, yeah, well, I believe in Jesus. I said, don't give me that shit, man. I know who you believe in. I know who you
Film
believe in.
director Werner Herzog provided more insight into the delusional mind of Robert Fratta.
Fratta loses himself in dreams and religious revelations, as if a finger of God had pointed at him.
It was Jesus' voice talking to me about contacting the Mormon Church, and he gave me information about them, and it coincided with previous, what I firmly believe are revelations of God for me to write about a new government system and forming a new country. And once I followed the instructions of the dream. I contacted the Mormon Church. They sent me their Book of Mormon, and everything that I read matched the information that was given to me in the dream. And, you know, that's not something that's going to happen, especially when you have no knowledge of this at all. So in my dreams, just a part of the United States that we would, like the Christians would go ahead and just be given our own land within the United States to form our own nation called the Kingdom of Zion. And it's where we vote for a king, and the king would be a Christian king, and things would be done in alignment with the Bible. It would be a Christian nation, and we don't have that now. This country has turned its back on God.
There's a lot of evidence to indicate that Fratta had very strong narcissistic personality features, if not a narcissistic personality disorder. He was often superficial, glib. He often performed for the camera and talked about himself with a perceived self-importance. Also, he appeared to lack empathy towards his estranged wife, or how this situation would likely
After
affect
that talk about God for a minute. Tell me once again, I don't know if we got that. What you were talking about being God's messenger. Tell me that again.
Life is God. All life. Bugs, birds, trees, everything that's alive is God. The sun is God. But we've got God over here on a cross. We've got a dying man over here on a cross, and we're all kneeling down hoping that if we die, there's a better place somewhere else. Well, you got a whole bunch of people hoping that they die. It creates a hell of a big energy. And I call it a death wish. It's mother's death wish. It's what everybody's going towards dying, like the Vietnam War when they wanted to blow the world up.
And what have you got to do with God once again?
I'm just a messenger of the truth.
God's messenger?
Life's messenger. We use the word God. The God hooks all the other words up. I'm the Pope. I'm 10 times the Pope. I'm 50 times the Pope. But I'm the Pope in the hills and in the mountains. I'm already out of here. This enclosure here, I'm out of here. My body's stuck here, but my thought is already gone.
When you told me you ran an underworld, is that a joke?
No. No, why would it be a joke?
It's not a joke.
No, when your word is good, it's good.
What do you mean by that?
When your word is good, it's good.
Global warming business is anti-God. If you don't believe God can run things, he created this world. And a lot of people, here's what God spoke to me. I'm going to show you something I've never shared before, I don't think. But God spoke to me that a lot of people are not going to accept the signs, listen to me, of the second coming, that the rapture's near, because they're going to call it global warming problem.
The things that we do as human beings that are accepted and called right 100 years ago have changed. Years ago, we could cut down trees and we could afford an exuberant lifestyle. We can't afford that no more. We're running out of atmosphere. We're running out of water. Our water's becoming so poisoned and so polluted, we're not going to be able to drink it. The trees are being cut down so fast. Lumber companies are just... The United States is owned by foreign corporations. Nixon opened it up for foreign trade. And when Nixon opened up for foreign trade, the people of Europe and the common market and Spain and different places, they don't care about the United States forest. And in short, the United States has been sold out by people who really don't care for anything but money. I've had all the money in the world 3 times. I had to give it back to keep the game going.
What game?
The game. It's a game. Money is a game. It's only real to the people who work for it. The people that don't need to work for money, it's a monopoly game. It's a game of paper. It's all on paper. I've got a production company, and I've got a recording company, and I've got a mansion in Beverly Hills, and I've got Rolls Royces and Ferraris. I've got everything money can buy, but it's all on paper. Everything's done through the companies and through the tax loopholes, and the people that live on that level, they don't care about the average honest mule that just goes back and forwards to work. They don't care about the children that are in the streets that are thrown out of this upper echelon of existence. And then when all the children fall down into me, on my level, I pretty much identify with them because I was a throwaway also. So it goes to the point of, do you really care?
When you said...
And who does care? And if anybody cares, they're considered crazy. I've been 15 years in the nut ward for trying to stop the trees from being cut down, from trying to rearrange a lifestyle of a bunch of people who don't want to change. But they're going to change because the cold wind is blowing. You're going to change or there's going to be no life left on the planet Earth. And then there's a bunch of little people that are always trying to play act some sort of importance over the truth about what is rolling on the planet Earth now.
You think it's a delusion? Someone is self-delusional.
Yeah, I think it's delusion.
Sign that I saw in the New York Times. The world is better because you are in it. I don't know what grade it was. I assume something like 5th grade. What a stupid message. Plus, it's not true. What has any 5th grader done to have made the world better because he or she is in it?
Holy roller sits in the garden we've fled. Blood into wine, take my body instead. Holy roller sits in the garden we've fled. Blood into wine, take my body instead.
her son. And Supreme Court people that didn't have what it took to stand up against her, and because of that one woman, today we don't have Bibles in school. We can't pray in schools anymore. The devil used that woman to to cripple our schools and open the door to the schools, and now the devil's going in there and killing children in school.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to adamantly oppose H.R. 8404, the Disrespect for Marriage Act. This unnecessary, misguided legislation not only disrespects the importance of traditional marriage for the health of a family, but also disrespects people and organizations of faith who have the constitutional right to carry out their mission in accordance with their most deeply held beliefs. With a crisis at the border, inflation skyrocketing, and a federal budget that is nowhere to be seen just weeks before Christmas, Democrats have made it abundantly clear that this disrespectful policy is their priority. Let's be clear, Obergefell is not in danger, but people and institutions of faith are. This bill only serves to further demonize biblical values by establishing a private right of action against organizations who believe in natural marriage, opening the floodgates for predatory lawsuits against people of faith. The bill's only purpose is to hand the federal government a legal bludgeoning tool to drive people of faith out of the public square and to silence anyone who dissents. Sadly, the Senate rejected 3 amendments that would have eliminated the private right of action and prevented the government from infringing on the freedom of religion. Instead, a flimsy amendment that includes vague language unlikely to protect anyone was included. Unfortunately, and likely intentionally, this hollow amendment provides no tangible protections for religious schools, no protections for faith-based adoption and foster care agencies, no protections for Christian businesses who contract with the government, and no protections for civil servants that justly believe marriage is just between a man and a woman. The bill's implications: submit to our ideology or be silenced. This is yet another step toward the Democrats' goal of dismantling the traditional family, silencing voices of faith, and permanently undoing our country's God-woven foundation. This is the Democrats' priority. Well, Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you my priority. Protect religious liberty, protect people of faith, and protect Americans who believe in the true meaning of marriage. I hope and pray that my colleagues will find the courage to join me in opposing this misguided and this dangerous bill.